Imagine paying, I don't know, like $500 a plate to attend this incredible luxury wedding, right?
Oh, yeah, a fortune.
Exactly, a fortune. Only you walk into the reception and you're told there are literally no assigned
This
seats.
is total chaos.
Right. No meticulously plated dinners, no seating chart. You actually just have to serve yourself from this massive, sprawling table of, cheese and dips and olives.
Which is pretty wild to think about.
It is, because like 5 years ago, that exact scenario was a high-end caterer's absolute worst nightmare.
Oh, completely.
But in 2026, it is somehow the ultimate status symbol.
Yeah, it really is.
So today, we're going to figure out how an ancient, highly communal style of eating, which is rooted in Mediterranean coastal villages, by the way, has completely shattered the formal dining paradigm. We're doing a deep dive into how this became the absolute anchor of upscale, modern entertaining.
It's a total inversion of what we typically consider, luxury. Because for decades, high society events were defined by isolation and control. I mean, you had heavy, formal invitations, these super rigid seating charts, and that very choreographed moment.
Oh, where the fleet of waiters drops the food all at once?
Exactly. They simultaneously drop these identical pieces of chicken in front of every captive guest.
Yep, the classic rubber chicken dinner.
Right. But now we're seeing the industry dismantle that entire structure in favor of something deeply historic, yet entirely repackaged for the modern elite.
And whether you are, in the trenches planning a massive event, or maybe looking for a way to upgrade your next dinner party, or you're just fascinated by the psychology behind why certain foods suddenly dominate the culture.
Which is fascinating in itself.
Oh, totally. This is going to be an eye-opener for you, because we aren't just talking about a new flavor profile here. We are talking about the architecture of how human beings celebrate.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the culinary foundation itself, which is the Mediterranean Mezze.
Right, the core of it all.
Yeah, so if you look at the menus for these high-end 2026 events, you see the classics. I'm talking hummus, tzatziki, marinated olives, stuffed grape leaves, roasted vegetables, and of course, fresh pita bread.
What's fascinating here is when you actually look at the history of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the concept of mezze actually stems from Persian and Arabic words, meaning, to taste or to snack.
Okay, so it wasn't a full meal.
Exactly. Historically, in places like Greece, Lebanon, and Turkey, this wasn't the meal at all. It was the prologue.
Just the appetizer.
Right. It was a way to slow down the consumption of alcohol, usually a spirit like Arak or Ouzo, and prolong the social gathering.
I see.
You shared these small plates so you could just keep talking.
Yeah.
But now, event planners have taken that prologue and made it the entire main event.
It kind of feels like the ultimate, I don't know, steroid-injected evolution of that viral charcuterie board trend we all lived through.
Oh, definitely.
Like, it's taking the concept of grazing, but turning it into a complete legitimate culinary journey.
Yeah, it's a full experience now.
But looking closely at the catering data and the menus that are dominating the space right now, there is a very clear anchor to this entire movement. The undisputed star of the 2026 grazing table is, without a doubt, the Feta-Stuffed Bite.
Oh, that is the centerpiece.
Right.
Without a question.
Right.
And it works so incredibly well because of these specific molecular and psychological profile of authentic Greek feta.
Okay, so why feta?
Well,
Why not like a creamy brie or a sharp cheddar? I mean, feta is great, but it's fundamentally just this crumbly, briny cheese.
I mean, it really comes down to contrast and satiety.
Contrast.
Yeah, feta has a very aggressive, tangy profile. It is super acidic.
Right, it's got that bite.
Exactly.
Right.
But when you bake it, especially inside a traditional flaky phyllo pastry, you actually alter the protein structure.
Oh, really? It doesn't just melt.
No, it doesn't melt into a puddle like a cheddar would.
Yeah.
It softens into this creamy, bold, warm center while still retaining its structural integrity.
Ah, so it holds up.
Exactly. So in one bite, you get the delicate, shattering crunch of the pastry, followed by the dense, really rich creaminess of the cheese.
Okay, so it's basically elevated comfort food. It hits all those satisfying textural notes.
It does, but, it goes deeper than just texture.
How so?
Well, when you serve food in these miniature bite-sized formats, you have to pack a massive punch of flavor into a very, very small vehicle.
Right, because you only get 1 or 2 bites.
Exactly. And the high fat and salt content of big feta instantly triggers the satiety receptors in your brain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, event planners have realized they can serve less physical volume of food, But because the food is so hyper-flavorful and rich, the guests actually feel more indulged.
That makes perfect sense. You're condensing the luxury into a single bite.
Exactly.
And you really see that culinary balancing act in the specific variations these catering companies are rolling out.
Oh, the variations are incredible.
Yeah, you have the timeless classic of spinach and feta, which kind of grounds it with that earthy, iron-rich vegetable profile.
But then you have the variation that seems to be completely taking over the upscale market, which is honey and feta.
Which is just a brilliant deployment of flavor layering.
Because it forces that sweet and salty collision, right?
Exactly. I mean, the human brain is evolutionarily hardwired to seek out both sugar for quick energy and salt for cellular function.
Right.
So when you combine the sharp, salty brine of the feta with the pure floral sweetness of the honey,
It's just irresistible.
it creates this profile known as hyperpalatability. It literally lights up the reward centers in your brain in a way that, say, a plain piece of grilled chicken simply cannot.
Yeah, chicken breast doesn't really stand a chance against that.
Not at all. And then you add in the bolder variations like olive tapenade and feta, or, whipping the cheese with fresh dill, oregano, and mint.
Which introduces that bright, herbaceous element so it doesn't just taste like a heavy brick of cheese and dough.
Precisely. It stays incredibly light on the palate. Okay, I get the culinary science behind why this tastes amazing. I mean, a sweet, salty, crispy, creamy bite is going to be a massive hit anywhere.
Of course.
But here is where the math doesn't quite add up for me.
Okay, lay it on me.
Delicious food served in small portions does not automatically equal a high society luxury event.
Fair point.
Because, you can get incredible street food out of a food truck.
Very true.
There has to be a structural reason why this specific format, this massive communal grazing table, is actively killing off the plated dinner.
Well, it comes down to a radical shift in what people actually consider valuable.
Okay.
We are witnessing this huge transition from valuing, let's call it status through formality, to valuing status through experience.
Right.
The grazing table is the physical manifestation of experiential dining.
Okay, I have to push back hard on that, though.
I'll go for it.
Because experiential dining sounds like a great marketing buzzword, but I'm just not buying that people are ditching a $150 filet mignon just so they can mingle over a bowl of tzatziki.
I mean, I hear you.
Let's be honest about the era we live in. These sprawling tables are visually stunning. They feature these vibrant greens, golden pastries, rich reds.
They're beautiful, yes.
This has to be primarily driven by the desperation for a viral Instagram aesthetic, right? Like doing it just for the photos.
It is incredibly easy to write it off as an Instagram trap. And you aren't wrong that the aesthetic is aggressively photogenic.
Right, it looks amazing on camera.
Visuals definitely matter. But if you look at the actual data on event satisfaction, the visual appeal is really just the hook.
Okay.
The real engine driving the trend is how a grazing table fundamentally alters the social geometry of a room.
A social geometry. Unpack that for me.
Think about the physics of a traditional formal dinner. You are seated at a round table of 10, right?
Yeah, standard banquet stuff.
Because of the sheer size of that table and the volume of the room, you can realistically only hold a conversation with the person directly to your left, the person directly to your right, and maybe, if you really lean in and shout, the person across from you.
Yes, exactly.
Your social world is artificially restricted to 3 people for 2 solid hours. You are a captive audience.
That is so true. You're just trapped there, desperately hoping you have something in common with, your +1's second cousin.
Exactly.
It's honestly like being on an airplane.
It really is.
Yeah.
But a massive central grazing table completely destroys that restriction.
How so?
It forces movement. It democratizes the entire space. By requiring guests to actually walk up to a central location to curate their own plates, you generate spontaneous interaction.
I see.
You bump into someone while you're reaching for the stuffed grape leaves, and suddenly you are catching up with an old colleague you literally wouldn't have spoken to otherwise.
Because you were at table 4 and they were at table 12.
Exactly. The food is no longer just this fuel being delivered to a passive guest. It's an interactive activity that facilitates real human connection.
So it shifts the vibe from a movie theater where everyone is just sitting and staring forward to a really dynamic cocktail party where the food acts as the perfect social lubricant.
Yes, and that is exactly what modern luxury is.
Interesting.
Luxury in 2026 is the ability to facilitate genuine, authentic connection in a world that feels increasingly disconnected and digital.
Wow, yeah.
brands operating in this space, like the event styling company Weddizer, they completely understand this. They aren't selling cheese and pita. They are selling intimacy.
Okay, so the social dynamics make perfect sense. I completely see why people want the movement and the mingling.
Right.
But logistically, a massive pile of pita bread and dips on a folding table looks like a college frat party, not a $100,000 wedding reception.
Very true.
How are these brands keeping the presentation elevated? How do you make communal grazing actually feel premium?
Well, this is perhaps the most crucial part of the trend. It requires an entirely different approach to catering.
Okay.
You cannot use the standard tools.
I was actually shocked by how brands like Weddizer approach this when we were analyzing the landscape.
Yeah.
They aren't treating it like catering at all. They're treating it like theatrical set design, like they are literally building a landscape.
Exactly. The food is merely the cast. The presentation is the lighting, the wardrobe, and the stage.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's break down the mechanics of that set design, because the rules from these brands are very specific. First, you absolutely banish the traditional catering equipment. No stainless steel chafing dishes.
None.
No sterile white porcelain platters. Instead, they mandate the use of natural material.
Yes, the textures are huge here.
Right, like heavy, rough-hewn wooden boards, matte ceramic bowls, and unbleached linen tablecloths.
And then they integrate the environment into the food itself.
Right.
They don't just, put a floral centerpiece in the middle of the table. They weave olive branches, fresh sprigs of rosemary, basil, and eucalyptus directly through the food display.
Like the greenery actually touches the cheese.
It does. It brings it all to life.
Do they also manipulate the visual field using height and color? You don't just lay the food flat, you build topography. You use crates and tiered stands to create physical peaks and valleys of food.
It's architectural.
Very. And you aggressively contrast the colors, right? The bright whites of the feta against the vibrant reds of the roasted peppers and the deep, glossy purples of the Kalamata olives.
And if you zoom out even further, the entire room is styled to support this feeling.
Yeah.
You have coastal-inspired palettes of white and blue, rustic farm tables instead of those huge banquet rounds.
Right.
And heavy atmospheric candlelight instead of harsh overhead spotlights.
It sounds incredibly cinematic, but from a psychological standpoint, why does swapping a stainless steel chafing dish for a wooden board fundamentally change a guest's perception of what their meal is worth?
It's all about signaling.
Why does a linen tablecloth make the hummus taste more expensive?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it all comes down to evolutionary psychology and subconscious signaling. Think about what mass production looks like. Mass production is glossy, symmetrical, and perfectly smooth, right?
Yeah, completely uniform.
Plastics and stainless steel signal institutional. They subconsciously remind us of cafeterias, hospitals, and cheap, fast, casual dining.
Oh, wow. They signal efficiency, not luxury.
Precisely. But in our highly digitized, mass-produced world, the things that are truly rare are organic, asymmetrical, and imperfect.
That makes a lot of sense.
When a guest walks up to a table draped in rough, tactile linen, covered in heavy knotted wood, and they smell that sharp, piney scent of fresh eucalyptus mixed with roasted garlic.
It's intoxicating.
Their brain immediately categorizes this experience as rare. Rough textures and organic shapes signal artisanal, handcrafted, and bespoke.
Right.
You are literally hacking the guest's brain to perceive the meal as highly valuable before they even take a single bite.
That is wild. You are artificially constructing a sense of authenticity, which is super ironic because to make something look this effortlessly rustic and, thrown together actually requires meticulous, obsessive planning behind the scenes.
Oh, the logistics are insane.
It's the paradox of casual luxury.
It really is. The most difficult thing to achieve in high-end design is making something look like it just naturally happened that way.
So we have this towering, fragrant, organically styled landscape of food. It encourages mingling, it hacks the brain to perceive high value, and it completely reinvents the social energy of the room.
Exactly.
But as someone who has hosted plenty of dinner parties, my mind immediately jumps to the sheer panic of feeding a huge crowd.
Oh, the stress.
Because catering any event today is a logistical minefield of dietary restrictions.
Yes, it is.
You have the gluten-free guest, the strict vegan, the pescatarian, the person avoiding seed oils.
It is arguably the single largest friction point for any modern host or event planner right now.
It has to be.
Trying to accommodate everyone often results in this disjointed menu where half the guests feel like an afterthought.
Right. So is that the secret superpower of the Mediterranean mezze trend?
What do you mean?
Like, is this massive rise in popularity just because it is the absolute easiest way for a caterer to feed 200 people without having to cook 5 entirely separate, distinct meals?
Well, yes. From a pure utility standpoint, it is a massive logistical shortcut.
Okay, so it is just easier.
It's easier, but the reason it succeeds at a luxury level is rooted in the psychology of inclusion.
Explain how that differs from just standard accommodating, like making sure everyone has a plate.
Sure. So if you host a traditional plated dinner and serve steak, your vegan guest usually receives, a hastily prepared portobello mushroom stack
Oh, always the mushroom stack.
or a sad plate of steamed vegetables. And psychologically, that guest knows they are eating the special alternative meal.
Right, they feel like a burden.
Exactly. They feel segregated from the shared experience at the table. The brilliance of the Mediterranean mezze is that it is inherently natively diverse.
Right, because the cuisine itself was built around olive oil, legumes, fresh vegetables, and seafood, rather than relying solely on heavy meats and butter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't require workarounds or weird substitutes. The dietary accommodations are built into the DNA of the food.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So when your vegan guest goes up to the grazing table, they aren't asking the waiter for the special plate.
Right.
They are actively participating in the exact same culinary experience as everyone else. They are scooping the roasted eggplant, the couscous salad, and the hummus. They feel entirely included in the celebration.
They're eating the main event, not the backup plan.
Precisely.
And when you look at the pairings that complete these menus, it really highlights that flexibility.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just the